What if the very act of hiding something was the thing that guaranteed the world would see it? Think about that. Not just sometimes, but as a pattern. A law almost. The more aggressively something is suppressed, the more attention it attracts, the more it spreads. It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater. The harder you push, the more violently it bursts back to the surface and through the surface. And today, we're breaking down that phenomenon. A psychological, social and digital force that has exposed celebrities, embarrassed governments, and turned small secrets into global headlines. This is the Streisand Effect. So let's define it simply. The Streisand Effect is when an attempt to hide, censor or remove information actually causes it to spread more widely. It's not just irony. It's a predictable outcome of human psychology and modern communication. And once you see it, and once you understand what it is, you'll start noticing it everywhere. So let's go back to 2003. A photographer is documenting coastal erosion in California. Thousands of aerial images are taken. One of them, just one, happens to include the home of Barbra Streisand. Now, here's the key detail. Before anything happened, almost nobody cared. The image had been downloaded only a handful of times. It was buried, invisible, and irrelevant. But Streisand didn't want it online, so she sued, demanding it be removed. And that's when everything changed, because suddenly, the story wasn't the photo anymore. The story was, why is she trying to hide it? Media picked it up. People got curious. The internet did what it does best. The image went from unseen to millions of views, not because it was interesting, but because it was forbidden. So let's break down how this mechanism works. Because it isn't random, it follows a pattern. Because suppression creates curiosity. The moment something is labelled, removed, banned, taken down, it triggers a question in the human mind. What are they trying to hide? And then curiosity spikes. Now people start searching, sharing, discussing. The act of suppression becomes the story. Media picks it up. Social platforms accelerate it. Algorithms reward engagement. And suddenly, the thing you try to hide is everywhere. So imagine I tell you don't think about a red door. What just happened? You pictured it. Now imagine I said, there's something important behind that door, but you're not allowed to see it. Now you need to know. And that's the Streisand Effect at scale. So let's bring this into today, because the effect is not rare. It happens constantly. Imagine a celebrity tries to remove a leaked video or image. The result is it spreads faster than it ever would have. The attempt to erase it becomes the headline. In 2019, leaked photos involving Jeff Bezos were threatened with legal action. Once exposed, the story went global overnight. What about in corporate censorship? A company might delete negative reviews or criticism. People screenshot it, repost it, expose it. Now the issue isn't the complaint, it's the cover-up. When Nestle attempted to remove criticism about palm oil sourcing, the backlash exploded across the internet. And what about government document leaks? When governments attempt to suppress documents or reports, it often signals importance. Journalists dig deeper, the public leans in. The Pentagon Papers became globally known largely because of the attempts to block their release. And what about Jeffrey Epstein? Attempts to control narratives, limit exposure, or quietly settle details. It only fueled suspicion. The less transparency there is, the louder the questions become. Early plea deals and sealed documents in Epstein's case led to a massive, renewed scrutiny years later when information resurfaced. And what about social media removed content? Photos and posts taken down for violations often get reposted elsewhere, sometimes reaching more people than the original. Suppression becomes distribution. Content removed from Twitter or X frequently reappears across Reddit, TikTok, Telegram, Quora, often going viral in the process. And then there's war narratives and information control. In conflicts involving places like Israel and Iran, information is tightly controlled, but suppression often leads to alternative narratives spreading faster. The more controlled the message, the more it's questioned. During escalations, restricted footage or disputed claims often go viral through unofficial channels, gaining more attention than official statements. And then you have whistleblower suppression. When whistleblowers are silenced and discredited, their claims often gain more attention. Suppression signals importance. If we think back to Edward Snowden's leaks, globally known precisely because of the attempts to contain and control the narrative, as well as things like WikiLeaks, for example. And then there's banned books or ideas. Books labelled dangerous or banned often become more popular. Forbidden ideas spread faster. The book 1984 that has surged in sales when censorship was debated, wasn't it? And then tech companies hiding features or issues. When platforms quietly remove or alter features, users notice, backlash grows bigger than the original change. Algorithms changed by Facebook have sparked outrage when users realised content visibility was being manipulated. And then you have financial and banking controversies. Attempts to downplay economic risks or financial instability often trigger more panic, and silence becomes a signal. During the 2008 financial crisis, the collapse of the Lehman Brothers became far more alarming as confidence eroded and information spread rapidly. And why does this effect matter? Well, it's not just curiosity, it has real consequences. Sometimes the cover-up becomes bigger than the event itself, and the narrative changes and it shapes public perception. It amplifies small issues into massive ones. Something minor becomes global because someone tried to hide it. And it challenges authority because the Streisand Effect acts like a pressure test. The more something is suppressed, the more people question power. So why do people try to hide things? And this is the deeper layer, because the effect only exists because people attempt suppression in the first place. Fear of reputation damage. People and organisations want control over how they're perceived. And then there's the illusion of control. They believe if we remove it, it goes away, but in the digital age, nothing truly disappears. And then there's panic reactions. Suppression is often emotional, not strategic. A reaction, not a plan. Sometimes there is something to hide, let's be honest. In many cases, the information is damaging, sensitive or dangerous, and the attempt to hide it reveals its importance. So imagine this, you post something online. It's not even that big a deal. A thought, an opinion, a clip. A few people see it. No big deal. Then suddenly it gets taken down. No explanation. Now your phone starts buzzing. People are asking, what was that post? Why did it get removed? Someone reposts it, then another. Now it's spreading, not because of what you said, but because it was silenced. And in that moment, you realise the attempts to erase it gave it power. The Streisand Effect reveals something fundamental about human nature. We are drawn to what is hidden, we distrust what is controlled, and we amplify what we feel we're not supposed to see. In a world of infinite information, scarcity creates value, and suppression creates scarcity. Here's the paradox. The more you try to control information, the less control you actually have. Because control creates resistance, resistance creates curiosity, and curiosity spreads like wildfire. So next time you see something being removed, censored, hidden, don't just look at what is being taken down, ask why. Because sometimes the act of hiding something is the biggest signal that it matters. And the real question is, in a world where everything can spread instantly, is anything truly suppressible anymore? And if you like this episode, don't forget to follow, like, comment and subscribe. And just a quick shout out to our sponsors. Strong Coffee Company, protein-packed coffee for energy and clarity. Use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com. And then there's More Labs, clinically proven hydration and recovery drinks. Use code VANCRUX1 for 25% off at morelabs.com. And finally, liquor gummies, electrolytes and vitamins for hangover prevention. Use code VANCRUX1 for 20% off at liquor.com, that's liquure.com.